Today we're looking at a Toshiba 32AF44, manufactured 2004. Went and picked this up today, got it for free. It's a flat screen Toshiba, standard definition. It's got one component input on the back, so you can put RGB into this bad boy. And you don't got to worry about that upscaling nonsense. Like I said, it's a standard definition set. Like I said, picked it up for free. Housewife helped me lift it and put it in my car. I was gonna say something, but she just handled it, like picked it up, and it actually started to slip out of my hand, and I was worried I was gonna drop it and look a fool. But we got it in the car, and here it is. I picked it up outside, which had me alarmed, like they had it outside, and when I got it home, the picture was all the way to 100, the contrast setting, which tells me they were probably watching this outside, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. The fact that they had contrast up to 100, if they were using it like that on the regular, might not be the best thing for this TV. When I got it home, there was some distortion on the image, which I'll see if a set's been off for a long time. We'll take a look at that in a minute, but just discussing the build quality on this TV, it looks exactly like my other Toshiba I did a video on, the 32AF43, which was manufactured in the same year, 2004. On the back it says they are different chassis, it has a different chassis number, but as far as I can tell they are identical, the shell of the tube. I did look inside, and this is a Toshiba, the tube on it, the CRT is a Toshiba, but it does have a slightly different model number than my 32 AF43. And my hunch is that the 43 looks slightly better, although I'd have to spend more time on it. Like, of course, I could hook them both up and just look at them side by side, but that's a lot of work. And I'm not even going to open this TV up because, honestly, I'm just not that interested in it. I'm not going to be using it as my main TV. I don't even think I'm going to bother blowing this one out. I might get rid of one of them, and I'm not sure which one's going to go. This one has better geometry than my other one, but it has some other issues I'll show you guys here in a little bit. It's got a tally light down here. This tally light's really cool, and it's got a degauss. If you power it off and then power it on, it will degauss, although I don't hear it degauss. I did just hear it right now. It has a very quiet bwong to it. It says color stream. I don't know what's up with that. That's some marketing stuff that Toshiba tried to do. Speakers on the side look good. Looks like a Sony with the silver. Flat on the top. Love that. You can set your stuff down. Excellent set. Sounds good. I don't really care because I always plug into a hi-fi, but I know a lot of people do care about that. I mean, it looks a lot like a Sony. It's a little more square, like on the side here. This looks more square than a Sony. They tried to like do some things to make it look more rounded. I actually prefer this look. I'd actually like this more than a Sony as far as the aesthetic design. It's got this, I don't know what to call it, but it says Toshiba on the back here. Around back we can see that it's a 32AF44, manufactured October 2004. As I was saying, it has a different chassis number than my 32AF43 that's manufactured the same year. Coming down here, we can see it has one S video and two composite ends. It has its own component with its own audio for the component, which is the mark of a more high-end set, that it doesn't share audio with another input. It has a video out as well as an audio out. Having a video out is another hallmark of a more expensive set. And you got your RF. Let's see, we'll come around the front. And you can see the inputs we got in the front. S video, composite. Oh yeah, check this out. I dig that tally light. I think that's cool. Here we are zoomed in to see some scan lines. These Toshiba AFs look as good as Sony's. They look like aperture grill. I went in and did a deep dive on the other video I have of a 32 AF43, so I'm not going to go that far into how the mask of the tube looks on this one. You can go reference that video if you want more in-depth on how the mask of this tube looks compared to an aperture grill. But it does resemble an aperture grill more than it does a slot mask tube, and I think technically it is a slot mask tube, but the scan lines are as thick as a Sony. Looking at this one, for some reason I just feel like the 43 looked better than this one, but this is still an excellent looking set. So I was saying there was some issues with this TV, but they appear to have resolved themselves. There was like a little bit of a flicker, like each phosphor triad was flickering just slightly. Actually, it was pretty bad when I first got it, which is something that I'll notice when you get a CRT that hasn't been on for a long time. You'll notice kind of a strobing or something going on here as like probably the capacitors load up again. And this one was doing that, and it's still slightly doing it, but you can't see it from the camera. But I can, if I stare at it with the naked eye, I can make out a tiny little flicker. But it appears to be going away. Now normally that'll go away in a half an hour, and this has been on for like an hour. So I thought that there was something wrong with it, like maybe it needed a recap. But it appears to have resolved itself. While we're zoomed in like this, you can see there are some convergence issues in the corner there, in the center. It's very good. I'm pleased with the geometry on this set. It's superior to the other set I have. The other set has, when I say other set, I mean my 32 AF43. That one has some geometry issues. I mean, this one does a little bit, but nothing that bothers me. There's no bowing. I don't need to push the yoke in or nothing. I wouldn't even mess with this. The other one, if I was going to use it, I would mess with. So yeah, I mean, looks good. This is another good way to test geometry, is just pull up this 240p menu. Just the fact that it's so square, I can notice geometry issues in here, like sometimes better than when I pull up the grid, and it looks excellent. Got the menu pulled up. Let's see what's of note here. Okay, the tint I had to turn up to 12, which is unusual. On every Sony I've ever calibrated the color on, you just set it to 0. But on both of these AF Toshibas, I've had to turn the tint up to get the color corrected properly. This SVM is your edge enhancement. Right there you can see it says off in white. That means I have turned it off. I recommend everyone do the same. That seems to be the rule. Everybody seems to like to have their edge enhancement off. It does some funny things to the picture. It kind of adds like a black border around it with the edge enhancement on. What else to point out? Okay, in here, on my other AF model, there is a tilt correct in here. It would be right around here somewhere, so that you can adjust the tilt on it if the yoke is off. But on this one, it doesn't have it, and at first I was upset about it, but it's actually better, which is something interesting. I've noticed some large Sonys or large any set will have a tilt correct on it, and some don't. And I've always thought it was superior to have the tilt correct in the menu. But it actually turns out that you don't need it. If a set doesn't have it, it has some sort of internal thing that corrects the tilt. So you don't have to go in here and do the tilt correct. Because this is how it works. Whenever you move the TV, it's going to change the magnetism, and you're going to have to adjust the tilt on it. On this set, if I turn the TV, it does actually slightly mess up the tilt on it. The yoke is off, but if you power it off and power it on, it just fixes it. Whereas my other AF, if you rotate at 180, it's severely tilted, and you have to go in and hit the tilt correct option on here. This will discolor. You'll get discolorations in the corners when you rotate at 180, but just turning it on and off and degaussing it will solve that. Okay, what else to point out in here? It has this image shape here. This is like probably an anamorphic widescreen thing. You know, like if you were to watch DVDs, you could put it into 16:9, and then you probably get better image quality doing it that way. I never mess with that, even when I watch movies. Color temperature and picture preferences. These are like your, like Movie Pro or whatever you'd have on a Sony. I just leave it on memory, which is whatever one I have set. And then you have your cool. If you set it to cool on here, your color temperature, it's more blue. Medium is, I don't know, it doesn't do much. And then warm is more red. So that's kind of cool. You know, if your TV is a little bit more red or blue, you can just come in here and hit that instead of like trying to do a white balance correction. That's about it as far as menu. All right, so final thoughts here. I mean, these TVs are as good, if not better, than Sony's for 240p gaming. I go into detail on my other video, but I feel like these TVs aren't as good for 480i. They're just too damn sharp. They're even sharper than a Sony, and you can see scan lines in 480i, which is odd because these TVs were made for 480i, and I don't think your average consumer wanted to see scan lines. But that's what it is with these Toshibas, man. They're almost like professional quality as far as the sharpness. This particular TV, I just feel like it's a little bit more tired than my other one. I might be tripping, I don't know. I'd have to spend more time with them. But yeah, I mean, these TVs they don't have as much push behind them. Not as many people, not as desirable as a Sony flat screen or Sony anything really. And I think that's unfortunate. Like, people should be picking these up. Like I said, I found this one for free. I mean, I just talked to somebody today that got a RGB, a 14-inch screen. Excuse me, they got a professional monitor that's 14 inches and it doesn't have component or RGB on it and it has a low TV line count. They paid $150 for it, and I'm just thinking, you'd be better off with this 32-inch beast that's probably just as sharp, if not sharper than that. You know, those PVM like N1s or whatever, low TV line count, like small screen, no RGB. Like, what's the benefit of that? You know, when you can pick these up for free. Yeah, I mean, that's about all I gotta say. Like, go out there and get you some Toshibas.